for two. Kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two. Sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this. Multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top end. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is up, and welcome to episode 270 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. Of course, presented by the Going for Two Live Podcast Network. We're here every Wednesday night on Facebook Live, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch on all major podcast networks, and of course, streaming in the Going for Two app for iOS and Android. If you are on Twitter, they still have issues with comments. We can't see your comments if you're on Twitter, so go find us on YouTube. Just search for Going for Two Live. And you could subscribe while you're there as well. Let me introduce my co-host, Mr. Ryan Steerfoss. Ryan, what's up, man?
Not much, man. I'm leaving vacation tomorrow. I'm like completely in that mode right now. So if I'm out there tonight, I apologize.
It's all good, man. Just on that note, while we're here, this will be our last show for a couple of weeks because Ryan goes on vacation next week, and then the following week I'm on vacation, so we won't return until August 17th. So I'll go ahead and plug that while we're here.
Exact same place, 1 week apart. We shall never meet.
I know, exactly. We're going to be driving past each other on the highway. It's just ironic how that worked out. All right, let me introduce our guest tonight. First up, we got first time on the show, first time doing a live show, period. Josh Walker. He's a writer and ranker at goingfor2.com. You can follow him on Twitter at RotoNot. What's up, Josh?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to be here. Ready to get started.
Good stuff. And no stranger to our show. He's been on a couple of our shows. Mr. Joe Bond, founder of the Fantasy Six Pack and host of the Fantasy Six Pack Hour. You can follow him at F6P_Joe. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, man? Hey, you forgot the Sunday night show, man.
That's right. I did.
You and me.
Yep, that's right. Sunday night halftime show. Me and Joe do a little thing that on his network. It's pretty cool.
One of these days, I'm going to show up on that show when invited and not be terrible. Dude, it's always like Jeff's like got a tummy ache, and you're like, "Can you show up?" And like it's 30 minutes before.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough when
I'm doing it. I want to do it this year in his spot one day.
We'll be good. We'll be good. No, we'll figure it out. So no, good stuff, man. Glad to be here, and looking forward to talk these West divisions, man.
Definitely. So, Josh, we'll go to you first if you want to give us kind of an idea of what you do in the fantasy space and how long you've been with Going for Two and anything else you want to talk about.
Yes. So in February, Jeff and Going for Two did this thing for analysts under 1,000 followers. And right about that time was when I decided this is kind of what I wanted to do. You know, it's kind of a hobby and in my free time. So I've been trying to get into it since then. I've been with Going for Two maybe a month now, maybe a little over that. I've got one article out, got a full set of rankings. And I've got another article coming out this weekend. I'll have it finished by then.
Good stuff. And Joe, tell everybody about your show and what y'all do over the Fantasy Six Pack.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of everything. Obviously, football is the big focus right now, but we've still got baseball and dynasty baseball going on. We'll be getting into the basketball and hockey. We've got some DFS golf going around. A little bit of college sports, dabble it in here and there, a little bit of everything. Obviously my show, the big show that I do at the Fantasy Six Pack Hour, which goes live 9:00 roughly, depending on my co-host. You guys know. 9:00 roughly on Thursdays. And we've just launched some new membership options this year. We're gonna throw some content behind those. We've already got rankings and things like that, and then our Discord channel behind there, doing our first AMAs this Friday and Saturday. So looking forward to seeing all the new people in there, and just having that direct access to people would be awesome.
Good stuff. All right, let's get into some stuff here. First off, today's show was brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. It's fantasy football with no waivers, no setting lineups, and no worrying about injuries. With their best ball leagues, you get to do the fun part, and that's drafts. It's like a mock draft you can win money from. Download the Underdog app for iOS or Android. Use our promo code GF2 to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. And then for as low as $3, you can join one of our Going for Two leagues, or you can get in one of the contests in the lobby, including their Best Ball Mania 3 contest with over $10 million in prizes, $2 million going to first. All you do is get the app, use our promo code GF2, get your deposit match up to $100 and start winning some money. All right, let's get to the 5-101s.
And now, the 101s.
All right, you first, Josh, since you're the newbie here. Use some non-football related. Your 101 for. And off the top here, we're going to go with your one fictional character you want to meet in real life.
This one was pretty tough for me, but I kind of narrowed it down to Andy Dwyer, Chris Pratt's character on Parks and Recreation.
Nice.
I'm not the biggest Chris Pratt fan, but he is by far my favorite character on TV. He has a really shitty band, which I used to be in one just like it when I was getting out of college. He gets to date Aubrey Plaza's character as well as Rashida Jones's character, and just every single thing he says is just absurd and hilarious. So probably be him.
Good stuff. Good answer. Joe, what do you got for your 101 fictional character you want to meet in real life?
Man, this one was pretty rough too, man. I was a big Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan back in the day, but I feel like, just for the sake of the show, right? Like, I kind of want to say almost any of the characters from the league would be awesome. I think probably, I don't know, maybe he was the most annoying, but also the funniest, like Nick Kroll's character.
Roxanne.
It's just any of them were good though, man. Like I would take meeting on any of them, and I'm sure they're obviously all into fantasy football because of it. So that'd just be fun to talk the sport with them at the same time.
Nice.
It's just meeting
Some
really funny guys too.
Yeah, try to get them one of your leagues.
Yeah, right.
Good stuff. All right, Josh, give me your 101 duo.
So this one probably be Shaggy and Scooby.
Nice.
When I was thinking of just duos that I'd like to hang out with, or just, those two came to my mind immediately. I used to be a stoner. I used to eat a bunch of snacks, and I love true crime and mystery. So
there you go.
True crime and mystery. That is not exactly what I think of when I think of him. But
yeah, well, he did. I think you may have missed it. He said he was a stoner.
I heard that, but I was like, yeah, a few seconds ago maybe, but yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's awesome. I think you definitely got to Ryan.
Ryan's dying over here, making me laugh, dude. I don't know what to do.
Ryan's dying. All right, Joe, give me your 101 duo.
So mine's gonna be I don't know, maybe more nerdy or equally nerdy. So it matches my beer, by the way. So this is it's called Pew Pew Pew. So if you're not figuring that out, Star Wars related, the guns, right? So I'm gonna go honestly any duo. You could go with Han Solo and Chewbacca. You could go with C-3PO or R2-D2. But honestly, man, I would go with Yoda and Luke because Yoda's the band, dude. I just love it. So if I could, obviously if they were real people, it'd be awesome. So that was where I would go.
That's a good one. I just want to. Me and my daughter have been watching the Star Wars series for the first time.
Nice. How old?
She's 9, and I didn't know she'd really be into it. But man, she's really into it. Whenever we have any free time, she's like, "All right, let's watch the rest of this one. Let's watch part of it." We watched all the Obi-Wan series. We just finished that up.
So I think I started too early with mine. I pushed it too early, and now they hate it. I think because they know I like it, and that's just what they do right now.
Right.
So, but she's 9 also, but still hates it. But anyway.
All right, 101 intro music, Josh.
This one I was stuck between Stone Cold Steve Austin's music with the glass shattering, but I think I'm going to go with Cowboys from Hell by Pantera. It's nice. One of the first bands that got me into playing music. It's one of the first riffs I learned. Definitely couldn't play the whole song, but just that opening riff is just really cool. Gets people's attention. Nice. So that's probably the one I'd go with.
Nice. Good stuff. Joe, what you got for your intro music?
I mean, it's obvious, right? Metallica, Enter Sandman. It's gotta be. Gotta do it, man. Go Hokies. I mean, it's the best intro music ever.
That is definitely one of the good ones. That is for sure. All right, let's go bucket list item. 101 bucket list item, Josh.
It's a lot more of a not realistic for me, but it's a reality now, being able to go to space and not have to be an astronaut. So I think that'd probably be it for me, just to, go up to space, see how horrifying it actually is.
Yeah.
You know what? Though,
Horrifying. Sounds awesome.
If you hang out in the back of the Scooby van long enough, you'll just be in space.
Oh, I mean, I've figuratively been there before, just not really been there.
That's awesome. Joe, what you got for your bucket list?
Nothing crazy, honestly. I think really just I just want to go travel Europe. I haven't ever gone over there. Just I want to take a month or two and just travel Europe at some point, but it's gonna be a while because I got 9 and a 6-year-old. So
Nice. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to go to Europe as well. I've never been. As far as I've been out of the country is Cancun, Mexico. That's as far.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I've gone to.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up here. 101 movie or TV villain, Josh.
This one was probably one of the easier ones. I'm a big fan of Dexter. So the Trinity Killer, John Lithgow's character on that, I think he did a really good job. He's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, super nice, happy-go-lucky guy. He's a high school teacher, but he's also been a serial killer for 30 years, and nobody had any idea. And he's the one that, was probably the closest one to ending Dexter in the show.
Nice.
So I'd probably go with that one.
Dude, he was so good in that show. He ruined that, like, himself as an actor for me. Like, I can't watch him in any role and not be creeped out by him.
Yep.
He was that good. It just ruined it.
Good stuff. All right, Joe, what do you got for your TV or movie villain?
So I'm going with Roger Verbal Kent, better known as Kaiser Sose.
Nice. That's
Very nice.
The Usual Suspects, baby. One of the best movies I've ever seen to this day. Not going to ruin anything for anybody who hasn't seen it, but top notch. You need to watch it, and the ending will throw you for a twist.
Yes,
that's all I got to say.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I actually own that thing on VHS.
Yes.
I still have it.
Wow. Mine's at least DVD, but it's it's old.
Good stuff. All right, let's get to this mock draft.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, if y'all haven't seen this before, and the way we do these mock draft or these division previews, we do them in a mock draft formats. So we're gonna start with the AFC West here, and Joe, you got the 101 here. So who you going with? And then Superflex, tight end premium. Forgot to mention that at the top there. I always forget to tell you.
Superflex, tight end premium. All right, that does throw for a little loop. Superflex. I mean, right? Oh man.
Tell me.
So yeah. So I mean, yeah.
It.
I mean, it's Mahomes or Herbert, right? So Herbert.
Herbert it is. All right, Herbert 101. Is there a reason why you went Herbert over Mahomes?
My rankings.
Oh, there you go. Fair enough.
I mean, I just again, like I think everybody's kind of probably said this a many times. Like you do worry about the lack of weapons with Mahomes. Mahomes is Mahomes, but I mean Herbert's. He runs a lot, and he's also got all his weapons still there. Yep. So
can't go wrong.
Little more faith in him this year to do what he did last year than Mahomes to do the same thing.
Yeah, 100% agree. All right, Josh, you got the 102 then.
Yeah, he basically said it's either Mahomes or Herbert since it's Superflex. I had Mahomes number one anyways. I actually hold the belief that getting Tyreek Hill out of there might help open up the offense a little bit. He's got 3 different people to throw it to. Mecole Hardman's not Tyreek Hill by any means, but he's still a deep threat, can take the top off the defense. And I'm really high on Juju, so I think him and Kelce are going to get a lot of targets as long as they're healthy.
That's a really good point because you figured the teams that did slow down the Kansas City Chiefs slowed down Kelce and Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Slowed down Kelce and Hill, and they struggled to find anything. If they end up having to be able to spread it around, that could be a little bit difficult because you don't know who to stop. That's a good point. All right, Ryan, you're at the 103 here.
Yeah, I'm taking the guy who wore his own jersey to camp for the first time anyone's ever done, and Russ Wilson. Like, dude, this is the first time he's had a real offensive line. He has all the weapons you could ask for. This is the best situation he's ever had. He might not have a ton of volume, but he's going to be super efficient with it. And he's going to blow up. Like, it's easy this year for him. He's going to have one of his best seasons ever just from this change of scenery alone.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. Do you think that he gets back to rushing? Because, I mean, last few years, he hasn't been rushing as much
He
as
doesn't need. No, he shouldn't have to. Like Russ is past that point in the career where he needs to run around.
Yep.
You just sling it around. You have 4 good wide receivers, talented tight ends, 2 good running backs, a real offensive line made of adults. Unlike he had in Seattle, like everything is in perfect place for him. Like he doesn't have to run for his life. He can drop back and find open receivers. Not force the ball. He's having a huge year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he could definitely have a huge year. All right, let's go 104, Joe. Who you got?
I'm gonna shake it up. No, Eckler. I think like Derek Carr might be the last Superflex quarterback left, but Eckler is a monster. The passing, the receiving is just good. And I know Spiller's there, and he got everybody else, but he's the guy, right? I mean, he's far and away the best running back in this division.
Any worry about any touchdown regression because he had so many last year? Or you think he's good there?
Yeah, I do think there will be some touchdown regression. I've mentioned that on my shows before, but I still think there's just enough there that keeps him safe as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Josh, you're at the 105 here.
This one is between Kelce and Devontae Adams for me since it's tight end premium, but I'm going to go Devontae Adams. I'm really high on the Raiders offense this year, and he always demands a high target share. He's one of the best route runners in the league, if not the best. And I think in redraft, he's definitely up there, top 3 as far as wide receivers go in the league.
Yeah, it's funny. If you look at his ADP, I know it's Dynasty what I'm talking about, but on DLF, if you look when he first got traded, how his ADP dipped, and then it slowly started to creep back up there. People are like, oh, wait a minute. He is still pretty damn good. So even with Derek Carr, I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah. All
right, Ryan, 106.
Oh, it's Kelce. It's easy here. We look for wide receivers that have 100+ targets, as that breaking point. He's had over 120 targets for 5 years straight, 6 years straight. 'Cause I'm bad at math. He's phenomenal. He's Patrick Mahomes' best friend, and now that Hill's there, he's gonna go even more to him. He might get 150 targets this year.
Yeah, that would be what I put his. What do you have him projected at? You have it up by chance?
I do. I always project low because I just kind of get low, but have 136 targets, 94 receptions, 1,080 yards, 12 touchdowns.
Yeah,
he's tight at 1 for me.
That's
a monster.
That's definitely good there. I agree. All right, Joe, you're up at the 107 here.
I mean, I almost said it last time, so Derek Carr. I mean, we're gonna take the last quarterback that matters, and I think with the addition of Devontae Adams, he's always been kind of underrated quarterback in my opinion anyway for fantasy. Last year he struggled, but I mean Waller was gone, and I mean he was basically thrown to Renfro. It was bad. So now
Zay Jones.
now Zay Jones disrespects himself. Derek Carr, when he's got Adams and Renfro and a healthy Waller, Derek Carr is easily in the high-end QB2 conversation. So that's an easy pick for me in a super flex league.
Yeah, I think he was the popular quarterback for quarterback 2 in the Scott Fish Bowl. I saw him go a lot to the guy that took him quarterback first. They get it Derek Carr around on the second or third. So yeah,
him and Cousins.
Yep. They're both in
that mid-second range.
Yep. 100%.
All right, Josh, you got the 108.
I'm going to go Keenan Allen here. If you couldn't tell already, I'm kind of a sucker for good route runners and making it easy for the quarterback to get you the ball. He's a huge third down target, and he's just always really good. I always draft him every year, and he's never disappointed me. So I'll probably just go with him. I have him higher than Mike Williams in redraft, but I do have Mike Williams higher in Dynasty. But I think for this, I'll just go Keenan Allen.
A good pick there. And can we please remove the injury-prone tag from Keenan Allen, please? He's not injury-prone.
He just can't score. He just can't score touchdowns.
Yeah,
he's turning into Julio Jones without the explosive plays.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, you're up at the 109.
I think Javonte Williams. The phases he's gone through where he was completely overrated, he skipped like where he should be, and now he's completely undervalued.
Yeah.
Even if he gets 40% of the rushing share, he's still going to get 200 plus attempts.
He'll get more than that.
I know he will. Like,
there's no way he gets 40. He had 50 exactly last year.
Yeah, he had 50 last year, and that was as a rookie. You don't think that's going up?
Yeah,
definitely going up. They almost
100%
didn't
agree.
sign Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon sat there as a free agent for how long? They finally said, "Oh, well, fine, we'll sign you. Come on."
Yeah, we'll have another. Yeah, like he's gonna ball out. And as much as like I was talking about Russ earlier, this team has a really good defense. They're gonna have the lead a lot, and sadly, they're gonna run the ball. They're gonna pound these two backs.
Yep.
So
I love
he's
that
gonna,
pick there.
and he's gonna have red zone opportunities because they don't have a bum at quarterback. They have a real quarterback, so he's gonna get red zone ops. That's all we want. Like even at 50%, 60% of the market share, that puts him in top 10 conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have been doing that 50-50 thing for a while, and they're both doing pretty good there. I think with Russell Wilson.
And Melvin Gordon's not Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, so
and this is actually a good offense. Like, well, let's not overthink it.
Well, so the thing with Javonte that you got to remember too, right, is they might, even if they do 50-50 split the backfield, like the rushing attempts, Javonte's getting all the passing
receiving work.
I have 66 targets. Like,
yeah, so like he's safe. Like I do like him. I know everybody got a little scared off of him whenever they signed Melvin Gordon, like, oh, here we go again. It's gonna be another like year. Like, when can you trust him? But they're gonna increase his workload. It's just I don't see how they don't.
It's funny. If Melvin Gordon went to Miami, nobody would care about him.
Yeah,
and he wouldn't be a threat to anybody. But the fact that he went to them, they're like, oh no, Javonte Williams. Let's be real, man. Like,
yeah,
the good running back's gonna get carries.
Yep.
He should be fine.
All right. Let's see. Did we go to Joe? You got the 110.
Man, this was tough for me. I'm debating between two guys, but ultimately with the tight end premium, I'm going to snag Waller there and just, hope he stays healthy. I think he can still eclipse, even with Adams there and Renfro there. I still think he can eclipse or get very, very close to 100 targets. And that's just, that's gold for a tight end. So Waller, when healthy, I think is still a top tier tight end.
Agreed.
Yep.
Everyone's scared off by the injuries, but yeah, I think he's still
and the additions to the offense.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've been getting Waller in the 5th round in some drafts, and that's just an absolute steal
That's
if you ask me,
stealing.
especially in tight end premium leagues. So
yeah.
I think people are looking into Devontae Adams a little too much there's plenty of targets to go around.
Agreed. All right, Josh, you got the 111 here.
I was going to go Waller, but I'm going to hit the other Chargers receiver and go Mike Williams. Seems at the end of the year and during different parts last year, they used him how they should and not just for big plays. I think if they expand his route tree a little bit and hit him on more intermediate targets, it's just he's going to finish as potentially a top 20, top 15 wide receiver.
They forgot about him mid-season. They were kind of like, just forgot about him. And then the last game of the season, like, oh, yeah, we got this guy that's pretty good. Let's throw it to him a couple of times. And he ended up having a huge last game of the season. So, agreed. I think they're going to get him the ball more often this year. All right, Ryan, you got the back-to-back here, 112 and the 201.
I'm taking Courtland Sutton with my first one. He's huge yards per reception guy. Like last year was his lowest because obviously that quarterback play, but we've seen 22 yards to catch, 15 yards to catch, 16 yards to catch. So Russ is going to throw downfield. He's always done it. And who's he did that before with? DK Metcalf, who balled out. Sutton may not be as fast as him, but he's still super athlete and can go up and get it. Like that role's filled, and he should thrive in it. And we just haven't had touchdowns with him before.
Nice.
And better quarterback should get that.
So did you change? I thought you were Judy over Sutton. Did you change that?
My projections this year came Sutton over Judy.
Fair. You had talked a while about how much Russ loves that slot. I
do. I have them both doing really, really well. I actually thought about doing both of them back to back, but I'm going to feel a little bit weird with it. But no, I think both will do it. I think both can thrive and have top 24 upside, probably higher. But Judy's had a little bit of issues recently. And
Yeah.
looking just at Russ's past, dude, he loves that big receiver on the outside. Other person I'm going is Josh Jacobs. He's so boring for fantasy football. And you know what? That boring guy, I can plug him as my RB2, not worry about him any week. He's still going to get volume. And I feel like I just keep saying it, but red zone opportunities there because the offense improved with adding Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not worried about Zamir White this year. They're going to run him Josh Jacobs into the ground on a contract year, and then let him walk.
I think I read a note that Zamir White's already missed the first three practices. That's not a good start for a rookie if he wants to supplant the starter. All right, Josh, we're back to you at the 202.
My guy.
I think I'm gonna go Juju here.
Yes, you are.
I was waiting for you. You said that.
Based off his comment earlier, I know he was taking him.
Yeah. Even when he was healthy with
man.
Big Ben, he had 800 plus yards, I believe. I don't have the stats up right here, but he still was pretty productive, even with all the off the field noise with his TikToks, dancing on logos. I hope he matures a little bit, and I think under Andy Reid and Mahomes, I think he's going to have a resurgent year. That's if he can stay healthy, of course, because he does have some injury history.
Yeah, I like Juju there a lot as well. Joe, you got the 203.
I guess I'll go with my second one and just hope that the recent stuff that's going on with him doesn't, hold him back. But it's Jerry Jeudy. You got to take the chance on him at this point, with the new quarterback. And we all know he's talented when he's on the field.
Yep.
But right now he's not on the field, so he's not practicing with his new quarterback, and that's a problem. And I've talked about it on before, and just it's gonna it takes time for new quarterbacks to kind of mesh with their their new teams. I mean, look, we saw Brady struggle in the beginning of last season, right? And so it didn't lead to wins as much, his first season, and then in Tampa, and so I know, training camp might be awesome for him, but it's going to come down to game time and really, really what happens. And just any missed time at this point really matters, especially when you're dealing with a new quarterback. So, but Judy's the next best player on the board. And so I'm just going to go that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think Judy that's a perfect choice there. All right, 204, Ryan. I want to say real quick, 204 and some of the other divisions, there was nothing on the board. I mean, these guys aren't great, but some of these guys here I still wouldn't mind having on my team here. So 204, Ryan.
This is great. This is great right here. After last week, this is beautiful. I'm actually I'm not ready to jump off a cliff right now.
By the way, this is why I picked these divisions, so I could just sit back, I could drink a beer, and not have to think too hard.
Yeah, Joe did.
This is easy.
Joe asked me when you doing the AFC West, I'm at the end of the month. He's like, all right, that's the one I want to come on.
Yes, I'm not on vacation.
Last one was terrible. I'm thinking Hunter Renfrow. I know they have all these shiny new toys, but him and Carr have a connection. He's still a 100+ target guy. He's that underneath guy. He's going to be wide open this year. Nobody's going to cover. He's never going to not see single coverage. He's going to just eat up linebackers and safeties. I feel bad for them. He's going to ball out there.
Yeah, I like that because, you're right. Carr has that connection with him. He seems to always find him. His nickname is Third and Renfro because he's the third down guy that always tends to get open. All right, Josh, 205.
I'm going to go Melvin Gordon here. Last year, he was surprisingly good. He ranked 8th in PFF rushing grade and 8th in forced missed tackles, and he had 231 touches. He was only, I think, 82 yards away from 1,000, and that was being the second option there. And like you said, their offense is going to be better. There's going to be plenty of rushing attempts to go around, and I think he's getting slept on just a little bit.
Yeah, I think where he's going in drafts, you definitely can use him in your redraft leagues as a backup. I like it. Yeah. All right, 206, Joe.
Man, if this were 3 days ago, it would have been CEH. But now that he started the camp on the pup for whatever reason it is.
He's off pup now.
Is he? Is he back off of
he,
it?
he worked out today.
They said it was COVID related. It was like they thought he might have COVID. So
he practiced today. They showed him running drills.
Yeah, he did. But he had 1 day on the pup.
Yeah, the pup doesn't matter this early in the season.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, it's still like we didn't know why, but
yeah.
Okay, well then, yeah, I'm going CEH then because he's actually ahead of Melvin Gordon for me. I don't like CEH at all, and he is a round, I don't know, 8, 9 at best for me in drafts. So I'll never have him because I'm sure somebody will reach for him. But I mean, as of right now, this is that's kind of the way the board is falling.
Yeah,
single divisions.
All right, so let's see. We're at the 207, Ryan.
I think we've hit the talent wall.
Yeah, that was it right there.
Like I think that was the talent wall.
No,
your boy's still there.
These are late. Yeah. These are late draft like dart throws.
They are,
and I like some of them like more because this division's awesome. So I like these guys more than other divisions like round dart throws. But
I like these more than early round dart throws in other divisions. I'm taking Tim Patrick.
Ooh.
I know it kind of feels weird. I know who you thought I was going to take, but like with Judy's issues, that could open stuff up. Either way, Tim Patrick's going to be on the outside starting. And if Judy's out, he's going to be there in 2 receiver sets. He's a fantastic red zone threat. I think he'll have some big games. And I think it's a nice little upside play.
Yeah, Tim Patrick is that receiver when he is playing that he's like the Josh Jacobs. He's the boring guy. Like he seems to always produce, but no one wants to own him. He seems to just chill on the waiver wires most of the season, and then all of a sudden he gets a start and he just starts putting up points.
Everybody wants handcuffs at like wide receiver. It feels like most teams, everybody gets it wrong just because it's such a question mark. With him, like he's safe.
All right, Josh, we're at the 208 here.
Since it's tied in premium, I'm going to go Albert O. I'm not even going to try and say his last name.
Yeah.
But when he played last year, he was pretty good. He demanded a pretty high target share per route ran. I'm not looking too much into the Greg Dulcich talk about him maybe being the starter. I don't see that being the case. If it is, I'll just be happy to be wrong about it. I just think he's a really good talent. He's had experience already. So
I think in his small sample size compared to Noah Fant when he was there, Albert O actually had better numbers than Noah Fant did. Noah Fant was obviously drafted higher and highly touted. So good stuff.
And also on Ryan's point, I've been taking Tim Patrick at ADP way before I take Sutton and Judy, just because you get him so late and he's I'm not
free
too high on that. Yeah.
All right, Joe, you get the 209.
First off, it's Albert Oguebanam.
Nice. Showing off here.
I got shown up on my show a few weeks ago, so I figured that one out pretty quick. So I was like, that's not happening again. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark with Sky Moore. The guy's electric. There's talk out of camp already. Not camp talk. It is what it is. But Pat Mahomes is also saying like this dude is legit. They could use him anywhere, even at running back. So my CEH pick a couple of picks ago might really, really suck for whoever that team is. And Sky Moore might take some Debo shares there.
Yeah, I heard that today. I think actually Juju he said it as well that he could be moved anywhere and play. He'd even play running back. That's the
bunch
statement. All right, Ryan, 210.
I'm debating who I would really take and who I kind of want to talk about. So I'm going to go through one. I'd really take Isaiah Spiller here, but I kind of want to talk about Gerald Everett. I think he's a very quiet, good player right now. Like, he's fitting that offense. I think he'll get a lot more targets than we're expecting. The talent's always there. I love the draft profile coming out. We didn't hit that ceiling yet because it takes tight ends time. And now he's paired up with Justin Herbert, who we've seen do well with the tight end.
Yep.
I love that combination for him. And he's he's going to be their 4th target because of Austin Eckler, but he might be their 2nd red zone target because Keenan Allen doesn't do it there, and there's going to be a lot of attention to Mike Williams. I think that opens up the world for him.
I think he'll be what we hoped he was going to be last year. when he went to Seattle. We all thought that he'd be good there, but then he wasn't great. And I think here with the tight end being used as much as it is used, I think he can definitely have a sort of a post-type season this year.
It takes time for tight ends. And a tight end in Seattle back then, they had such a bad line. They're always inline blocking. Like, that didn't help him, especially an undersized tight end. This could be really good for him.
All right, Josh, your last pick in this mock, your 211. What you got?
It's between two guys on the Chiefs here. I'm going to go Hardman over at MVS. Like I said, someone's got to feel not necessarily close to the extent of Tyreek Hill, but I think they like to have a deep threat and someone that can take the top off the defense. MVS can definitely do it too. I just don't know if he could catch the ball or even catch it as well as Tyreek Hill. So Hardman. So I'm going to go Mecole Hardman here as like a dart thrower, like you said.
Good stuff. And Ryan, I am surprised you didn't take Rojo at all. I thought you would want to talk about Rojo, but
no, I want to take Spiller over Rojo.
Oh.
But no, I'm off that Rojo.
All right, Joe, finish us off here at the 212.
Well, fine. You can help me talk about Isaiah Spiller, Ryan. I'll give you that one because that's my pick.
Okay.
So I like Spiller because, look, I don't. As much as Eckler was, healthy last year, or we do know, we also know that he has injury, concerns. He did miss a couple games last season. Spiller is, I'm not a big college guy. At least I haven't been the last couple of seasons, unfortunately. But from what I read on Twitter and all over the place, especially early on, was like Spiller was the man. Like people loved this guy, and then he just fell off like a rock. And I don't know why, but his stock dropped like a rock.
That combine
Lands in LA here, and it's a phenomenal situation. Great team. There's only really one guy ahead of him. Spiller's got to be the guy here. So feel free to add more.
Yeah, I think it's going to bring up, we've only seen Eckler cross the 200-yard mark or 200 mark once. That was last year. And I don't think they want to do that with him. That's why they spent the draft capital on him. He's also can do a lot of what Eckler does. He's not as explosive, obviously, but he's a really good pass catcher. That was one of the things that was coming out. He was one of the best pass catchers in college. So if something would happen to Eckler, he fills that role quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, that wraps up the AFC the AFC West. So are you tired of vague, misleading injury reports costing you games? Well, Going for Two's own injury analyst, Dr. James Ferretti, wants to help. With his book, Injuries Suck, but Your Team Doesn't Have to, the doc will show you a clear approach to player injuries, media reports, and coach speak, as well as how to anticipate and act quickly when injuries strike. Available for purchase on Amazon, or use the link in his Twitter profile at TFS Stop. Stop guessing, start winning.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, Josh, you got the 101 here in the NFC West. And again, tight end premium, super flex. Who you got here?
I think since it's super flex, I'm going to go ahead and go Kyler Murray. I think he's due for a big year. The only small concern is not having Hopkins the first 6 games, but I think there's enough weapons there between Rondale Moore, Hollywood Brown, and Zach Ertz to where I think he's going to be fine. He's got the rushing upside, though I don't expect him to run as much. But in the red zone, I think he's still going to get some, plenty of rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, can you imagine how good he'd be when he watches film for 4 hours a week?
Dude.
All right, Joe, you got the 102.
You gotta go Matt Stafford. I think he's the safer. Ryan is shaking his head at me. The guy threw 40 touchdowns last year. I know that the interceptions were up, but this is like good offense. Do I expect 40 touchdowns again? No, but I also don't expect 17 touchdowns again. I think it's just, they got into a little funk there in the middle of the season where he just started pushing the ball and pressing. I love the addition of Allen Robinson. And the running game being hopefully back should actually help him, I think, because I think teams just kind of knew all they could do was pass. And so I think Stafford's the guy. I think I know where Ryan's going.
All right, Ryan.
The way Jeff had the order, ever list order, I was like, man, I feel like I'm going to be forced to take somebody I don't want to take. But I'm taking.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I was gonna take Stafford, so it'd be easy, but I thought I was gonna take someone else. But I did completely just Jeff has Cooper Kupp like 10th on the list because he does it all by brain. So it's Cooper Kupp, man. He's a monster. He's Matt Stafford's best friend. It's not gonna change. He's a top 5 receiver this year. He may not be back-to-back number 1, but he doesn't have to. He's gonna get high volume. Don't overthink it.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie, I did not think that's where you were going. I thought you were.
I thought he was going Trey Lance. I thought that's where I thought.
That's why I made that look. Because I thought I was gonna have to take Trey Lance because I like completely skipped over his name the first time looking and got upset. But yeah, it's he's a monster.
If you notice, they're all in team order. Like Trey Lance is the first quarterback on there, and then the running backs are Eli. That's how I did it in my head. I went team by team and did each position that way. That's how I remember it.
It's only my 4th time doing it this year.
Yeah, you have no excuse at this point. All right, Josh, the 104.
I'm gonna go Deebo Samuel here. He's one of the best athletes I've seen in a little while with all the stuff he can do on a football field. I'm surprised they haven't put him at quarterback last year with the Jimmy G stuff. Yeah, he had 1,400 receiving yards, almost 400 rushing yards, and 8 rushing touchdowns. So I think in total that gives him 14.
Yep.
I mean, that's just hard to pass up. And he's just elite, especially with the ball in his hands in the open field.
And if I'm not mistaken, he did throw a pass last year. He didn't complete it, but it was a pass. He threw on a jet sweep. He threw a pass. I'm almost positive. It could have been the year before that, but he definitely threw a pass at some point.
Sounds familiar.
Can't all be
I almost faded him for him not signing that kid's autograph, but I'm not going to let that influence my decision here.
Yeah, that was a whole big Twitter controversy, and I think it was a little overblown, honestly, but that's what Twitter does.
Yep.
All right, Joe, you got the 105.
I'll take Trey Lance.
Enough.
I feel a lot safer taking him now at this point in the draft than when I skipped over him in Scott Fish and when I skipped over him in the Warrior Bowl, and because it was always like, are we sure Jimmy G's gone? Like, what's going on? And now the front office has come out and just said, like, Jimmy G knows we have moved on and Lance is our guy. So, okay. So Trey Lance it is. Look, I'm not expecting, great things from him. It's going to be a lot of the legs carrying his fantasy value at this point. So, this offense is going to be super, super run heavy at this point. Trey Lance just is not that type of quarterback still, in my opinion. But, running quarterbacks, even if they're not efficient passing, can score you a whole lot of points. So,
yeah, I had a debate on Twitter, and someone was talking about how Shanahan's never had a quarterback like Trey Lance, but I think they forgot he was the offensive coordinator for the then Washington Redskins when they had RG3. So he was pretty good that year.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, 106.
George Kittle. It's tight end premium. He's one of the best in the league. If I could guarantee he played 17 games, I'd be so confident about this pick. Probably took him earlier, but there's always that inkling of fear with him because he just plays so damn hard. But it's worth the choice. It's worth the chance here. And because I think in wide receiver at 1 will follow me, or one of them will. So I think Kittle's the call.
All right, let me ask you if I can guarantee you 17 games at Kittle, where does he go in your tight end rankings? Is he over Kelsey at that point, or is he
probably tight end 3?
Tight end 3.
Yeah.
Who are the two ahead of him besides
Kelsey
Kittle?
Kelsey and Andrews.
Is it
Oh,
Andrews?
yeah, I should have known that. Ravens fan. Of course, he's Andrews first.
Yeah, either way, but there's a lot less targets to battle for.
Yeah.
And a quarterback who he has a connection with.
And Kittle's has to block way more than I think he should be.
Yeah, Andrews' only job is to catch the ball. And him and Lamar are just like in sync at all times.
You also do realize that a lot of Andrews, and I think people forget this, a lot of Andrews' production last season came when Lamar was hurt.
Oh yeah,
his best games were when Lamar was hurt. Game.
Oh yeah, that was fantasy playoffs. But yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just something to consider. Like I like Andrews, and I do think the volume will be there, especially since they got rid of Hollywood Brown. But I think we need a slower roll on Andrews. I've seen him go in front of Kelsey a couple times, and you're like,
I don't agree with that.
Like I don't agree with that. Like
he's easily my 2, but he's not close to my 1.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, Josh, you got the 107 here.
All right, this one's actually kind of a tough decision between two running backs, but I'm going to go with James Conner. While there is some injury concern from his history, it's not quite as bad as Cam Akers, who I skipped over here. And he had 18 touchdowns last year. I do expect some regression to that, but the Cardinals were 8th in red zone rush attempts. And, Darrell Williams is good, but I don't think he's going to threaten him on goal line carries or anything like that. So I'm going to go James Conner there. Nice, safe, boring pick.
Yeah, he's the Josh Jacobs of the NFC West.
There's
Gonna
nothing
say
wrong.
the exact same thing.
There's nothing wrong with boring in fantasy football.
Nope.
There's not.
Consistency.
That's why I always draft Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
He might not have big plays, but he's always going to have a high floor.
My only issue with Keenan Allen is he goes early enough to where I'm like, I could get almost the same floor from other people, but the ceiling is like twice as high.
Yeah.
His ceiling is never going to go as high as them. So that's why I never have Keenan Allen unless he drops, but he never does. So,
yeah. Keenan Allen is one of my most owned receivers in things because they never put him over 7,000. He's always in that 7,000 range no matter what he does the week before. So he's always my guy every week. Plug him in. He's going to be consistent, get those PPR points. All right, Joe, 108.
I'm gonna go with Cam Akers. I do think him coming back late last year was a half of a miracle. It was pretty amazing. He didn't really show very well, but I think what you did see, right, was the Rams wanted to get him the ball and they wanted to trust him. They know he's good. It just didn't produce. And I mean, that's hard with the, coming off the injury he had. A whole another all season. I think Akers is going to be the guy. I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot of Akers in my leagues because I'm one of the believers. So here we go. That's what I'm doing.
All right, Ryan, 109.
I'm going with the guy who every year when I do my projections, there's always like a player who ends up going way higher than I expected. And I didn't expect this player to go in my top 12 wide receivers, and that's Hollywood Brown. He fits so well with what Kyler Murray does and that team does. He's big play potential, obviously. He's always been in that 12, 13, the high yards reception range. He's efficient in the red zone. He's had 8 and 7 touchdown seasons. He's done all of that, and he's going to get a ton of targets because he's going to be in an offense that throws way more. You have no DeAndre Hopkins for 6 games. He has that connection. It's perfect for him. He's going to have room to run and make plays. It's such a good match.
Yeah, I think Hollywood Brown was wide receiver 7 or 8 when Lamar Jackson got hurt, something like that. He was definitely in that receiver 1 category, and then Lamar got hurt and things changed. Obviously, I don't think he would have finished there even if Lamar stayed healthy. But I mean, people forget how good he actually was last year.
He could have been top 15. He probably could have finished top 15.
Yep.
Like he still had 1,000 yards last year, and he can do that in Arizona.
And you take away that one bad game where he dropped 2 touchdowns. You give him those 2 touchdowns that he dropped. It's a different story.
I do remember that game.
That's the game you watch when you're sad about him leaving.
Yeah.
You just keep watching that over
Keep
and
watching
over
that
again.
over
It
and
feels a
over
little bit better.
All right, Josh, 110.
I'm going to go Eli Mitchell here. There are some talks that are from a beat reporter for the 49ers saying that they're not going to run him quite as much as they did last year, but I think overall that'll be beneficial. He missed, I think, 6 games off the top of my head last year, and I think running him just a little bit less each game might help preserve him. And he's also on easily top 3 rushing offenses in the league year in, year out, and he avoided Shanahan's doghouse, which so many good players found themselves in. So I'm just going to take the shot on him and hope he improves on last year. He's very decisive and hits the holes.
Yeah, he's one of those players that I'm high on. I'm getting him. I actually have him in my top 12 in running backs for redraft and dynasty right now. I'm way higher than everybody else. But
Josh knows how to get invited back on the show right here.
Don't call it pandering.
That was good.
Yeah, I mean, he averaged almost 20 touches a game last year, and that was with Deebo Samuel getting his thing. So I think, if they scale back Deebo Samuel's rushing, it's going to go to Eli Mitchell, or, even if they do have a committee, like you said, he'll stay healthy for those 6 games he got hurt last year.
Yep.
I'm all in on Eli Mitchell this year.
Yep.
All right, Joe, 111.
I'm gonna go Mr. DK Metcalf. I mean, I get all the concerns. We don't know who the hell the quarterback's gonna be. Whoever it's gonna be, it's not gonna be good. But I mean, look, even with Geno Smith last year, the guy produced probably better than he did with Wilson last season. It was kind of crazy. It was very touchdown dependent for him, but I mean, the guy's a monster. It's just hard to pass up on that talent at this point with the rest of the players on the board. I mean, D-Hop missing 6 games crushes him. We got Allen Robinson. I get the argument, but he's been struggling the last couple of years. You don't know if that's because he's kind of washed or, maybe him going to a much better team is just going to make that much of a difference. I don't think any of the running backs left touch at DK Metcalf level. So that was just kind of the easy choice there.
I like that pick. And we had a stat that was given on a show. Maybe Ryan gave it or one of our guests gave it, that Metcalf had 5 receiver 1 finishes last year, and 3 of them were with Geno Smith. So to your point, he was better with Geno Smith. Obviously, he didn't have as many games with Russell Wilson as he should have, but he was still decent with Geno Smith. So
yeah.
And someone in the chat, Gator, wants to know, what are your helmets behind you, Joe?
So I've got the fantasy 6-pack helmet that we gave away last year at the expo. We made a few of us. I made a few extras for some of the staff, and then the VT helmet. Go Hokies! And a Sandman. That's why I picked the song.
Good stuff. All right, so let's see. We're at Ryan at the turn here, though. You got the back-to-back.
Joy. I was really hoping you just kind of skip over DK.
I kind of figured somebody missed him, but it's not horrible. You guys didn't pick anybody egregious over him.
No. I'm going to pick DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to pray I can survive 6 games without him. I took him in the Scott Fish Bowl. If I can't go 3-3 without DeAndre Hopkins at the 10th round pick, I don't deserve to be talking on a fantasy football show. So,
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm
going to ask what you are after week 6. If you're out, you're fired. That's it. You're 2-4, you're fired.
Yeah, dude, if I'm not 500, dude, if I'm not 500 in the Scott Fish Bowl without anything egregious happening, just fire me because I'm waiting for him to come back. And after him, I guess I'm going to take Allen Robinson and just hope that he brings that magic back. He's in the best situation a man could ask for in that offense with that coaching staff and a real quarterback. Everything's there for him.
Right.
Even though last year we said it was the best quarterback he'd ever have, this year really is the best quarterback we have. There's no questions. Matt Stafford's Matt Stafford and good. So I'm going to bet on that.
Yeah, best quarterback, best coach, best offense. I mean, anything you put there, you put best next to it because
he's still the number, and he's the number 2 receiver there. It's life is good for
second cornerback against him, and not the first. The first was going to be covering Cooper Kupp. So yeah, that's going to be.
He's going to have dudes like Jackrabbit Jenkins on him.
Coaching staff's already come out, said they love Allen Robinson right now in early camp. So
how can't you, man?
He's so good. He's
so.
Even last year, he was going early, even though we knew the quarterback situation was crap and the coaching staff was crap.
No. We all thought Fields was going to be the best thing he's ever had thrown to him. There's not a single person who said.
But still, Fields was still crap last year. Let's be real.
He was so
passing. Bad. So, for him, it was bad. And so, but everybody was still but he's quarterback proof.
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying.
He wasn't. Well, he wasn't coaching staff proof, I guess, is really what it came down to. That was just a miserable situation all around. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Allen Robinson this year again.
Good stuff. And Joe, you got the 202 here.
I
think that's where the talent drop off is right there.
It definitely is, because even though it's super flex, man, I just don't care. Don't care at all. I'm trying to look at my rankings and see what I got here. So we got
take Jimmy G if he gets traded to a different division.
Almost thought of that.
He could go to Seattle. You could have all 3 Seattle quarterbacks here.
That'd be pretty funny. I just, you know what? I think at this point in the season, that's where I'm going. I think I would take my chances on Jimmy G over these guys because none of these running backs and receivers, these other flex players are probably gonna make that much of a difference in my opinion, unless there's injuries. So Jimmy G is a guy who I think is good. And I mean, come on, we're talking early second round in a division. So what round would this be in a normal draft? This would be like one of the last 3 rounds. You're getting a quarterback who is potentially going to start for an NFL team, and look, he's not great. We know that. But he also went to the 49ers who run a very run-heavy offense, so who knows what he could really be. In New England, he was really good when he got a chance. Maybe he goes back to that.
I've come out and said that his best landing spot, at least from a fantasy standpoint or from an NFL standpoint, would be the Cleveland Browns. If Deshaun Watson gets a huge suspension, he goes there. They got a decent defense. They got a good running game. They got some decent weapons. They have a good offensive line. You have that with Jimmy G, you can win. That's all you got to do. Protect him.
I can see that. Running
defense. I think we have a in the chat here. Zach. He says they call him A-Rob because he's abbreviation because he robs his fancy drafters tender.
You drafted him early last year, didn't you?
Yeah, he's real bitter right now.
I've given A-Rob a new nickname. He's now L.A. Rob. That's what I'm calling him. L.A. Rob. All right, where are we at?
I like it.
203, Josh.
All right. I know y'all said the talent dropped off, but I still got Rashad Penny pretty high up in my rankings. Weeks 14 through 18, he was the RB1. He averaged 6+ yards a carry last year. And, there is some injury concern, but I'm not going to let trying to predict a future injury keep me from drafting a viable running back. Where I've drafted him, he's been on my bench. So I don't feel like there's too much to lose there, and there's a ton of upside. And like Josh Jacobs, I think they're going to just kind of run him into the ground. He's on the last year of his contract. And, I'm going to go there and hope for –
Let me ask you this. In real drafts, you take Rashad Penny. How far are you reaching to make sure you get Kenneth Walker to get him as your handcuff?
Well, the drafts I've done, like Scott Fishbowl, the Warrior Bowl, Ken Walker's gone before Rashad Penny.
That's a good point.
So this is me just usually picking the best player available and having a bench running back. So I don't have too much Ken Walker. I have him in a dynasty league, but I do have Penny in that as well. So if I can, I will. Maybe it'd have to be very close, probably next round. So back to back.
Yeah, I think they're pretty close in ADP too. That's why I was asking that question. It's really a flip flop, depending on which site you're looking at. The one goes earlier than the other.
Penny might be going ahead of him now that there's news that he's going to be the workhorse.
Right. All right, Ryan, you got the 204.
Yeah, I'm taking the actual good running back in Seattle, Kenneth Walker. I refuse to call him Ken. I hate it so much. Kenneth Walker's so good. He's explosive. He can actually find holes in the line and read defense, and he can't just go run outside zone and make one cut and go. He's explosive. He makes big plays. He can run between the tackles. And even if Penny's healthy, they could both be 200 attempt guys because this team is not built to pass the ball. But, I mean, he's such a good back. He got drafted high for a reason. Penny's always hurt and also not that great. I think he's a little bit overrated. He's just fit a great system because every running back in there did well when they had Russell Wilson. It's all going to see efficiency fall off, but I think volume will make up for both backs.
You worried about his pass catching? Something coming out of college, it was his big drawback.
I mean, when you got Geno Smith and Drew Lock back there, does it really matter? But no, just because we didn't see it in college, especially like Michigan State, it's just not what they do. We don't know if that's a thing. You're a Division I college football player and a running back. You should be able to catch a football. Like, it's the most overblown thing ever. Like, it's just the offense.
Yeah.
I don't think either one's going to get a ton of receiving work. Yeah,
on occasion, and we've seen AJ Dillon be able to catch the ball. Not that he does it a lot for the Packers, but he can. And he's never had to do it for Boston College. He could just truck over everybody in Boston College, including my Hokies. He killed them, and so I'm in 100% agree with you, Ryan. Like, he just the pass catching or the lack thereof from these college running backs is like just totally overblown. Like these guys are athletes; they can catch the damn ball.
Yeah.
I mean, look how many times, like even like different position, like tight end. Like look how many of these tight ends in college catch like 8 balls, like TJ Hawkinson, and then can catch 80 in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like it's just because you didn't do it. It's just not the system.
I mean, Kittle didn't have a huge. I mean, he had a decent college career, but I mean, he was taken in like the 4th or 5th round.
Kittle was a nobody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
picked
was
him
just
up on
great
waivers in my dynasty league after like week 3, the year he came out. I was like, oh, he's done well. Let me pick him up.
Yeah,
He's just an
that
athlete.
worked.
Yep.
Like the trait, you have to watch the traits. Like his traits tell me he can catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like you can't be that good of an athlete. It's not hard to catch football.
All right, Joe, you're up at the 205 here.
Man, I'll be honest. It's between Lockett and Ayuk for me, and both offenses kind of lack a passing game this season. You know, I'll take my chances on Ayuk. I think I do think he's talented. He's just got to stay out of the Shanahan doghouse. Hopefully he does this season. But you know, he had some pretty monster games last year, and you know, and again, still who really knows what's going on with Debo? So I mean, he could turn into be the wide receiver 1 in that offense. So that'd be stellar.
Yep, that's a good point. I mean, he had a good season the year before too. When
Yeah, his rookie year was phenomenal.
Yep. So I think he definitely has the talent. Just like you said, stay out of the Dante Pettis doghouse because that's where receivers go to die.
Yeah.
All right, 206, Josh.
Like Joe, I had it narrowed down to Ayuk and Lockett, so I'll take Lockett.
There you go.
He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year. I feel like he's just one of the perennially top wide receivers as far as route running and running deep routes and not just catching balls in the flat. The quarterback situation is not ideal, but he is the deep threat, and I've been getting him around 12. I think I got him 11 or 12 in my Scott Fish Bowls. So he's where you can get him. He's a good wide receiver 3.
I remember early in his career, we weren't really sure what Lockett was going to be. He was kind of like a special teams player and everything. And over the last couple of years, he'd made some of the most ridiculous catches I've ever seen, especially like when he gets to get his toe taps down in the back of the end zone, like getting his feet down. The guy has tremendous body control. And I think with those quarterbacks, he's going to need that because the ball's not going to be anywhere near him most of the time.
He's a really good route runner too, so I think he shouldn't be too hard of a target to find open.
Agreed. Ryan, you got the 207.
I'm gonna take Zach Ertz here. He played really well when he got to Arizona. He was averaging 50 yards a game. He scored a decent bit. Without D-Hop there in the first 6 weeks, that should be more red zone opportunities. And I think we didn't see him with a healthy Kyler Murray. So the opportunity is there for him to be their tight end 1. And he could score a lot of points just by getting touchdowns. And 50 yards a game at tight end position automatically puts you in contention to be in the top 12.
Yep, exactly. I think he actually, when he was with the Cardinals, was a top tight end, top 12 tight end for the part that he was with the Cardinals. So, yeah, I agree. Joe, you got the 208.
Ertz was going to be my guy. He stole him. I will go with a get in the van, Jefferson. I mean, yeah, it's just more of a. I know everybody hates him because of how they burned him, you know, in your playoff leagues and even just the last couple weeks of the season. But honestly, before that, he was very good, and he did have an injury that I think did set him back. You know, there still is obviously, you know, some question marks with Allen Robinson. So there's always a chance that Robinson doesn't really work out, although I do think he really will, as I had mentioned earlier. But Jefferson can still be a very good third in this offense. I mean, like, you know, the tight end left is Higbee, you know, and Fant. So we know Higbee's not really going to be a consistent thing. So I think Jefferson in a fairly heavy pass heavy offense can still be a good, wide receiver 3-4 option for you.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 3 receivers in this offense be good before when they had Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and they had Jared Goff at quarterback. So they got
100%.
Matt Stafford now, and so who knows? He can definitely be that third guy. So I agree.
Yeah.
209, Josh.
Starting to get a little ugly here, but I'm going to go Noah Fant. He was good, not great last year. According to Fantasy Pros, he finished 12th, so he's borderline tight end 1. I'm mainly going off of seeing reports that Pete Carroll said that he's had the most spectacular camp of anybody. It's hard to believe Pete Carroll. He's by far the most optimistic head coach I've ever seen. So take that with a grain of salt. But this late, tight end premium, I'm just going to get Noah Fant.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's still saying Chris Carson's going to play.
Yeah.
Even though he retired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it optimism or senility?
That's special.
It's borderline. It's hard to tell.
I haven't dropped him in my Dynasty League yet, but I have nobody to pick up. So I just I'm waiting it out. We'll see.
I got offered $5 a fab to take Chris Carson off my hands in one Dynasty League.
Do it. 100% do that.
Yeah, it is next.
Done deal.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, your last pick here at the 210.
I'm going to take Darrell Henderson.
Mhm.
I think he has standalone value because of his receiving ability. I don't know if they're going to just pound the rock with Akers because he is coming off an injury. I can still see him with 150 rushing attempts and 50 targets and being viable. And then if Akers goes down, it's wheels up. We've seen him produce at high-end running back 2 area before.
Yep, I agree there 100%. Joe, your last pick here at the 211.
All right, so I know who my pick should be, but I'm going to do it just for you, Jeff, because you are the reason why I picked Eli Mitchell last year. And what did you always say?
Take the cheapest running back.
Take
the
lowest
cheapest
ADP
San Francisco 49ers running back. So the cheapest 49ers running back, actually by ADP, is actually Jeff Wilson.
Oh,
so
right.
It is Jeff Wilson, who has also been named the number 2 so far, so even better. So I like that. So that is who I'm going with, just because he's the cheapest, and I want to give you cred for giving me Elijah Mitchell in Scott Fish last year, even though it didn't work out overall. Not your fault. I was phenomenal all season, crash and burn the first week of the playoffs because I had half my team on COVID.
Ugh.
Can't do anything about that. But Elijah Mitchell was a huge reason why I got there, and everybody who spent $100 fab on him, I spent nothing.
You had him on the bench. Yeah,
So,
I was pretty pissed that I did not get him in the Scott Fish Bowl because I had talked about him too much. So my league drafted him before me. I didn't get him in my home league either because I talked about him so much.
Oh, man.
Around. So, yeah, definitely.
I took him around 21 out of 22 or whatever. It was so silly. And I was just kind of you're looking at the board at that point. You're like, it's kickers or fourth string running backs. You're like, wait, what did Jeff say? Yeah, screw it. Why not? Click. And I was like, man, this is awesome. So
that makes it 4 years in a row. So the stat that I gave on Twitter at that time was 3 years in a row. The cheapest running back in ADP in preseason ended up being the highest score. Now it's 4 years in a row. So if Jeff Wilson does it again this year, it'll be 5 years in a row.
Yeah, you said that on the show for the Fantasy 6-Pack Hour when you did the NFC West preview with us, and we got to the 49ers, and you talked about the running backs, and we were talking about what Mostert last year, I think is what it was, and you were like, nah, I don't want him, I want whoever's last. And Trey Sermon was going early because everybody thought it was going to be him, and you kind of talked about Elijah Mitchell, and I was like, I mean, why not? Who cares at this point? It's Scott Fish, 21 round draft pick, who cares? So again, my real pick would have been Rondale Moore, but I just felt like I had, I wanted to be here and give you a little bit of credit for being smart.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I also went on the what's the show the game show that they have? I can't think of the name of it right now.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Dang it, I can't. I've never been on it, but I know. I do.
Front Yard Fantasy, is that it? Front Yard
Fantasy.
The front yard fantasy
show. Yeah, I went on that show too and said the same thing, and all three of those guys
the Jeopardy thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
and they give me a shout out every once in a while too on that same thing because they all ended up with them. And I'm still pissed that I didn't get them.
Not this year. You're shutting your mouth because you want all your players. No.
Yep. 100%.
It's a tough life as an analyst. You can give out all your secrets, and you just hope your league mates aren't listening.
Yep, exactly, and they always are. There's a story I told Ryan last year. I had the 101 in my rookie draft league, and we had a show and we talked up Jamar Chase, and I'm like, yeah, I'm taking him in my home league. Literally, I got off the show and I got a trade offer that I couldn't refuse because he saw that and he wanted Jamar Chase. So he wanted to move up to get Jamar Chase. So he offered me like the 102 and the 106. I was like, well, shit, 2 firsts for the 101. I'm doing that all day. So, all right, let's get to our final segment of the night.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, so Joe's been on the show before, so he gave us one last time he was here. So we'll let you go first this time, Josh. Give us your forgotten fantasy player.
All right, so I decided to go with the first player I ever drafted the first year I played fantasy football. It's Matt Forte. I just remember he won me in my first few years a few championships because he was elite as a receiver and also a very good runner. Got a bunch of touchdowns. And I don't remember hardly any other picks I've ever made past last year. But I just remember Matt Forte, and I'm a huge fan of him. Yeah,
he has some pretty good years. I mean, he was that dual threat running back before they were really dual threat running backs. Yeah, he was awesome.
100%.
All right, Joe, who you got for your forgotten fantasy player?
Man, I had a whole bunch of guys listed down, and I finally narrowed it down to Pierre Thomas of the New Orleans Saints. Does anybody remember this guy? Like, I'm talking about boring picks, right? Like, super boring. Never broke 1,000 yards rushing. Never broke, was never like a gigantic receiving threat. Although he had 2 seasons, 50 catches and 77 catches, and then actually another one of 45. But like, he always finished in that like mid to back end RB2, but was being drafted way past that because everybody just was like, oh, who's this dude?
Yep.
And I always had him because of that. And so like I was going through some old rankings or finishes in fantasy football and being like, holy crap, Pierre Thomas, that's a name. And so like it's just a guy that I always seem to. Did you actually know in 2000, whenever 2009, when the Saints won the Super Bowl, he finished as the top scorer in half PPR for playoff leagues.
Really?
He had a monster playoff season.
Wow.
Thanks to Fantasy Data, by the way, I use them for all my data lookup for kind of advanced stuff like that.
Where's my bell? Ding ding.
They're good stuff. But they had that stat, and I was like, wow, I did not know that. But that season, that was his best season overall too. 793 yards and 6 touchdowns, and then caught for 302 and 2 touchdowns as well. So not bad, but like still never could like break into that RB1 territory. It was just consistently like good-ish, but it was consistent too. Like you could always kind of just rely on tons of running backs around him too. Like he always had Reggie Bush, and he actually fell into the Mark Ingram range. Like he lasted long enough for Mark Ingram too. So Deuce McAllister, he was there when he was around at the beginning. So he always just had another guy. That's why he never just broke out completely, but he was always just good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Saints back then had like the 2-headed / 3-headed monster of always at running back. And that's why
they always do.
They still do.
Yeah, as a Falcons fan, you're like, okay, I've never heard of these running backs. We got them. Nope, they still get 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Falcons fan, man. I was gonna bring up Michael Thomas, dude. But he was good for like 2. He was phenomenal for 2 straight years.
He's what I wanted out of Julio, a touchdown threat.
Oh no, I'm talking about the running back. Wait, this Michael Thomas not the right word. Name. Damn it, who is it? Who was your monster running back for a few
Michael
years?
Turner.
Michael Turner, thank you.
Yeah.
He's a guy who I think is totally forgotten. He was one of my other ones listed down, and I just didn't have any.
He was a top 5 pick in fantasy at one point.
Yeah, he was monster, but then he fell off hard and quick.
Yeah, he was the backup to LT, right? And we kept thinking like, oh, if he would just get his own thing, he would be able to go and do it. And then he went to Atlanta and he blew up. I mean, he was awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right, fellas, that wraps the podcast up. Let's go round robin here. Give us your Twitter handle one more time, and if you want to plug anything, we'll go to you first, Josh.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Rotonaut. And I'm actually more briefly in the future going to be on the Fantasy Football Dogs. It's DAWGS podcast, and that's on Spotify, Apple. So you can find me there also sometimes.
Good stuff. Joe?
Yep. If you're watching, it's at F6P_Joe, the number 6. fantasysexpect.net. Like I said, we got our new subscription model in place. So go ahead and join that and hit us up on Discord. We're looking forward to hear from you there, and you guys can get direct access to all of our award-winning analysts there.
Good stuff. Brian?
Twitter, Foss534. Find me here Wednesday nights. Find me over at the Rookie Big Board. We have the Dynasty Big Board podcast. Comes out Wednesday as well. I'm actually putting out, content here, going for 2 again, dropping my projections at some point once Jeff makes them pretty for everybody else to see. So check that out and tell me how much I hate your favorite player.
Or if you're Hollywood Brown, how much you love him.
Yeah.
It makes me hate myself. I had to do self-loathing somehow.
All right. So as always, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at Jeff Lambert77. I just want to plug our in-season content for Going for 2 Live is going to be amazing. We're adding a couple of shows. We're going to have an IDP show now. We're going to have a underdog pick'em show as well. Our good guy, the B League is going to be doing a pick'em show for underdog, our sponsor. So a lot of cool things coming out. We're going to have a show pretty much every day. We even have we have 2 Saturdays. So we're expanding all of our content as well. So check that out. As I mentioned, me and Ryan are on vacation the next 2 weeks, so there won't be a show. Our next show will be August 17th. I think we're doing a mock draft that day. So make sure you tune in August 17th to check that out. All right, for Josh, for Joe, for Ryan, I'm Jeff. We will see y'all next week.